Good afternoon, folks. We are live once again. Let me get everything switched over and loaded up, and we will jump into a brand new playthrough with Warriors Abyss. There we go. Should have video. And now we should have audio as well. Just as a disclaimer, and I can mention this later too if people stop by and are wondering. This game has a pretty cool soundtrack, especially if you played a lot of the other Musou games. I am using the royalty-free BGM playlist just because I've been listening to this game's soundtrack for a long time. So I'm switching it up, and I'll explain what that means when we get into it. But let me go ahead and get this back on screen. This is going to be a really good test because I have never attempted to stream this game before, especially not with a model. And hopefully everything holds up. But this is Warriors Abyss. This game was made by Tecmo Koei, the group behind the Musou series in general, which includes Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, the Warriors Orochi series, and a bunch of games that are kind of lumped under the general umbrella of the Musou kind of style. And I think I've talked a bit about it off and on. It's probably been a while. I like the Musou franchises. I've played a bit of Dynasty Warriors. I played several of the Samurai Warriors, and I really like the Warriors Orochi series quite a bit. In addition, I've played Hyrule Warriors, the original. I didn't get the expansion. But I've been playing those games off and on over the years. So when I found out about this game, I decided that I had to check it out. And to give kind of a real surface level summary of what Warriors Abyss is, it is an action roguelike, kind of in the vein of Vampire Survivors, which is why it drew my attention to begin with. This game, as we'll see once we get in, is all centered around doing runs with different characters, working on builds and how to flesh out the abilities of themselves and the different party members you recruit, with the intention of clearing all of the dungeon floors and unlocking upgrades and different pieces of content. And there's several different modes. We'll probably check out a couple of them depending on how long the runs take. So I guess I'll start off by talking about the cast, and then we'll go into a run, and once I get a chance to just walk around and explain the mechanics, and I can talk through it a little bit more in depth. This game doesn't give you kind of like a training mode. Training hall is something different, but there's no kind of just walk around and experiment mode, so we'll have to do it in run, which is okay. So the premise of Warriors Abyss is we are in Hell. We'll meet Enma, the King of Hell, in a little bit. He pops up to talk to the player. But basically, Enma is in a fight with another entity in Hell called Goma, and he has recruited the souls of famous figures in history that come from the Musou franchises, with a couple exceptions. And basically, he recruits these souls to fight for him and send him down into the depths of Hell to fight the different waves and try and take Goma out. And this is a snapshot of the cast when we go into select our mode, and I got to figure out how I want to play through. I could run through a higher level one just to kind of show off how crazy things get at the higher levels, but the different factions from Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors are represented here. So we have Wei, Wu, Shu, Jin, the other faction, and then on the Samurai Warriors side, the Oda faction, Toyotomi, Tokugawa, Uesugi, other faction. And then there's several guest characters from other properties that Tecmo Koei was done. These characters right here, these three, are from one of the new Atelier series. You have Sophie, Ryza, I guess is her name. I've never played those RPGs. And Yumiya. These three were the first series of guest characters to be added via free DLC. And then the most recent set of guest characters come from the Ninja Gaiden franchise to kind of coincide with the upcoming new Ninja Gaiden game. So we have Ryu Hayabusa, Ayane, Rachel, and Momiji. And so this is not a complete cast, especially from the Musou side. There are a lot of characters that are not in the game yet. And periodically, up until the Switch 2's launch, the devs have been adding packs of new characters for free and kind of fleshing out the game. And there's a lot of content to go through as they've added new modes and new things to unlock and do, which is kind of impressive for such a kind of small niche title that sort of functions like an asset flip. These are all things taken from the other games that they've packaged into the roguelite formula. But here on the cast screen, we get to choose who we're taking into a specific run to go and fight through the different levels and try and beat each section. If we back out one, I go to Hall of Bonded Souls. This tells you kind of more of a surface level, the map of all the characters you have to unlock. And so, just for context purposes, for folks who might be watching this now or in the archives, I bought this on Steam maybe a week and a half ago. I played through a good portion of this game on Switch first. When it originally came out, I got it not too long after launch on Switch because the Musou games tend to be really good games to play on the go because there's a lot of grinding and a lot of stuff to do, and I tend to play those games better when they're on a mobile platform. But after getting all the way through and unlocking everything, so had to do this whole thing, this web of characters and different other bonuses is not unlocked from the start. And the Karma Embers, which are these blue fire currency things here, are earned in run and used to unlock things here on the map, in addition to some other things we'll talk about later. But I did the whole map, unlocked it, got through the highest difficulty of runs that was available at the time, and I found that the game runs on Switch. I don't have a Switch 2. It runs on the Switch Mark 1, but it doesn't run super well. When things get really hectic and there's a lot on screen, the overall frame rate kind of just collapses, and in some cases gets really, really chuggy. It was pretty bearable until they added some of the more difficult modes recently. And so I did some research, and people were talking about how this game runs pretty consistently smooth on PC. So recently I bought it on Steam, and I wanted to be able to stream it, to be able to share it with the community and talk about it, since I like this game quite a bit. This one's in contender of the different titles for Game of the Year for me this year. Potentially being able to beat Monster Hunter, which would be a first, but we'll see come year's end. But as you unlock different characters, you get some permanent bonuses here, which you can see in the lower right. And there's a lot. Another disclaimer, again, since I haven't shown this game off before, I don't speak Chinese, and I've played a lot of the Musou games over the years, especially the Orochi ones, where it's kind of like everybody from the Musou games is here in a non-canon series of events. But I don't speak Chinese, so it's always bugged me that I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce some of the Chinese names. So I have done some research. There's some useful videos on YouTube that people have done talking about these games specifically, since they're all figures from history, be it Japanese or Chinese. And so I know a little bit more about how to pronounce the names. I might not get it 100% perfect, but I will do my best, at least for the Chinese ones. For the Japanese ones, I do speak a little Japanese, as people know, so that's not a problem. I know how to pronounce those. But there's a lot. Fortunately, we aren't going to really need to worry too much about unlocks for the moment. There are some advanced things you can unlock for everybody, which I guess I can talk about here. For the different characters, if we go into their actual unlock menu, you can acquire the character's unique weapon by paying some of the Karma Ember soul currency. And if we look at the abilities of the heroes, which I'll talk more about in run, since it won't mean much when I'm not actually doing anything. But each hero, each character has their own set of innate abilities when you play as them, and then their own set of abilities that you get when you recruit them. And again, we'll look at the whole party recruit system when I get in there. But the unique weapon, which is marked in box 2, I don't have a cursor on screen, but for this character, Wang Yi, her weapon is Illusion Piercer, and it's not unlocked yet. You have a chance to find these on runs from different mission rewards you get for clearing things, or you can buy them outright using 50,000, and I think in most cases, of the Karma Ember currency. Unlocking the weapon gets you more additional abilities this character has, and I don't know if they get bonuses when they're recruited, but when you play as them, for sure, the weapon slot there gives more abilities and boosts their power. Once you unlock a weapon, you have the ability to transcend them, which is something they added very recently. Transcending the character upgrades all their abilities, their box 1 abilities, their weapon abilities, and then their tactics or summon abilities. And that usually costs, I think, another 50k or so. It might depend on the character themselves, but that's an additional layer of upgrading that pretty drastically improves how the character plays. Finally, there is the ability to increase the parameters right underneath the life, strength, defense, and speed stats of the character, where it says cumulative level. Cumulative level is tallied as you take the character on runs, and whether you beat the run or not, however high you get their experience level in that particular run goes into the cumulative total, with the exception of a couple modes. I don't think it does that. But over time, it'll build, and each 50 increments in cumulative level, you get permanent stat upgrades for the character. And right now, it goes up to 570. It can go up to 750 if you unlock some additional things in some of the other modes. And so, as you play with the characters, you can build up their cumulative levels to get their permanent stats up higher, or you can buy it outright if you have enough of the embers. So late in game, when you have the ability to farm higher levels and you're getting more of those embers per run, if you have another character that you pick up that you really like and you can afford it, you can get all of their permanent upgrades just straight away if you buy them. This game doesn't have microtransactions, thankfully. All of the DLC and stuff you buy that's cosmetic is just costumes, outfits for the characters. I bought a couple of them, but all the other stuff is earned in game, so I appreciate this one's not just full of microtransaction stuff. So that overview screen that we see here, which will look similar in game, you can also see their combos. I'll go through the actual combo system once we're in run. But we'll probably be jumping back here every once in a while. The little blade icon to the right of the character portrait means I've gotten their unique weapon. So like for this character, Guoljia, his weapon is Celestial Goose. And I think I found this one. I don't think I've really bought any with the currency yet. I'm trying to stockpile it. But this is an example of what the weapon bonuses look like. So for his, it increases Musou gauge charge by 10% for every Wei emblem, and increases total wisdom emblems by 50. I will go through the classification of all the emblems and what the emblem system means in run. That's probably going to be the biggest portion that I sit here and yap about before we get to actual gameplay. It would cost 80k to transcend this guy, and we could see that talent emblems get added, his base skill gets upgraded, his summon skill gets upgraded. This one doesn't change his weapon, so the parameters that get upgraded are different per character. They don't have the same bonuses, and then overall base attack will go up by 50%, and that's the flexing muscle arm, that's strength. Left to right, it's hit points, strength, defense, speed. So let's go in run. I think I will take Hayabusa, who I think is my strongest character at the moment. he was my farmer in the Switch version to kind of get a lot of the currency and clear a lot of the modes to unlock stuff. So we'll take him into a traversal level 5 run, since we'll get a pretty good payout from that if we beat it. And I'll use him as kind of the opportunity to explain how the game works. So for this, in order to select how we're going to start the game, we have the level, essentially the difficulty level of the run. We start with regular, and then we have to unlock or beat traversal levels 1 through 6. Each traversal level increases in difficulty and has certain perks and certain debuffs or negative perks for the run. And it's primarily the amount of karma embers you earn. The higher the difficulty, the more you get. In addition, you get a cumulative level bonus when you complete the run. So if you end at level 30, it'll be a 70% increase of that 30 that gets tallied to the character when you completely clear it. I don't know if you die on the run if you get any bonus. It might just tally what you got. All of the red text is negative debuffs, things that make the run harder, and there won't be much context for what those mean, so for now I'll kind of bring them up as they pop up in run. But what we can do is go in, we're going to go traverse level 5. I was thinking about taking this dude into 6. 6 is hard. 6 is currently the hardest regular difficulty level for the standard mode. I have beat it with this character, just not on the save that was on Switch. But the main thing I want to do is explain the game mechanics and unlock stuff. So we'll go traversal level 5. It's not a cakewalk, but it should be pretty doable. First zone, there's 4 in total. First one's Blazing Waste. Now again, I don't have a tutorial mode, so I'm just going to need to clear this real quick since the enemy target count's low. And then once it's clear, I can run around and explain things. Alright. Each map you run into, for each, I guess it would be considered phase. So in the upper right corner, it tells us our difficulty mode, traversal level 5. And this is phase 1 of 8. So you can think of it like floors. We have to get through 8 floors in the zone before we have to fight a boss on the 8th floor and move on to the next zone, and then we do that 4 times. And if we clear all those, then we beat the run. So basic controls, I'll do kind of a quick overview since this is pretty similar to the standard controls of the Musou games, but this one does a couple things different. We have regular movement with the left analog character. This character's fast, so he kind of books along decently quickly. On square, PS controls, using my PS5 controller for this, you have light attacks. And the combo system in this game is just like it is in the other Musou games. We have a combination of light attacks and hard attacks, hard being triangle. And so you string together combinations of light and hard, and each combo path sort of varies a little bit for character to character. But for example, if we went 1 light and then hards, we get this kind of rising attack. If we go 2 lights and a hard, we get this forward rushing attack, which is pretty useful. You're going to see me using this one a lot because it's quick. Likewise, I think we have up to 3. So 3 lights and a hard looks like that. If we hit a hard attack on its own, it doesn't combo chain into anything for this character, but he launches a pretty large quick projectile wave on triangle. If we hit X, which I think is the biggest difference from the Musou games, which from what I remember you can jump. There's no jump in this. Instead, X becomes dodge. And so you get this quick lunge, which has no iframes by default, which is something I thought I'd point out. This character has speed and starts with speed emblems, and the first speed unlock gives you an invulnerable invade, which is why it's really important to get when you're first starting out. But this allows you to get through enemies and get away or get close. And then the blue bar on top is the cooldown. The primary abilities: light attacks, heavy attacks, combo chains, dodging. On circle is the Musou button. I will use that on the next screen, so I'll just waste it. But that's like your super move that recharges. At the bottom left, the blue bar of my life. Right below that is this flashing gold bar that fills up as you hit enemies and take damage. That's the Musou gauge. When that fills up, the Musou ability is ready to use whenever you throw it. The meter with the number, that's my level. So I can hit level 3 just by clearing the first floor. Alright, now for probably the most technically complicated part of the game, and the one that requires the most explanation, I think. If we go to the crystal sapling, we have here the souls of several characters from the main roster, which pulls a random number unless it's a themed crystal sapling, which we'll see as we go. But this is where like the core meat of the gameplay mechanics come from in Warriors Abyss. So you can see here, each of the characters has these little symbols right below their portrait. Like for Hanbei, we've got the open book, which is wisdom, and then ice, which is one of the element abilities. The way it works in this game compared to other roguelites, which is a little bit unique, when you recruit one of these heroes and you form a bond with them, you get the emblems that they have assigned to them. So for Da Qiao, we would get Charm, which is the kind of star looking one. For Huang Gai, we would get Strength, which is shield, and Fire. And the number in the right with the swords by it, the yellow number that changes, that's our cumulative power, which from my understanding is tied to the synergy of the characters you've recruited and the abilities you've unlocked, but it's not necessarily always an indication of how strong your player character is. In general, you want number to go up, but as you get into the more advanced ways of building different characters, it will change and your emphasis will change. So each of the characters that you recruit will give you emblems, and they have emblems assigned to them below their nameplate. So for Hanbei, you have the Oda emblem, Toyotomi, Strategist. That is different for every character, and that also translates to the conditions on the left box, where it talks about summoning skills and tactics. Tactics are probably the most critical thing to be aware of as you start building your team in this game. Tactics are passive abilities that get unlocked when you meet the emblem requisites as shown at the very bottom under activation conditions. This took me a minute to get my head around since I didn't really follow any tutorials. I just kind of experimented with stuff till I figured it out. So in order for you to get the ability and get its benefits, you have to acquire the requisite number of emblems. So for Hanbei, in order for straight arrow or loose cannon to unlock, which gives a 40% attack increase for anyone who has the Toyotomi emblem, you need 5 of the book emblems, 5 wisdom, and then 4 Toyotomi emblems. So that means if you're trying to activate this character's tactics specifically, you'd want to seek out characters that have those 2 requirements until it unlocks. And then if you see the upgrade conditions once the ability is unlocked, if you recruit that character or get that requirement, it upgrades the ability and makes it better. And so the key point of builds in Warriors Abyss is trying to maximize the effectiveness of your team / player character based on all the different special skills you get unlocked as you recruit more characters into the overall team itself. And if I go left menu button, this is the emblem overview. Like, this series of screens is how you track what you're doing in each run. You can see what different things do as far as the emblems go. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 8, 9, 10, 11 different types of emblems you can acquire outside of the ones specific to the character. Specifically the ones in the lower nameplate. These are the base emblems, I guess you can call them. And every time you acquire another one, it will move to the next stage, going from bottom to top. And on the right, we see the benefits of going from each number of emblems. And it starts one off, so you get the upgrades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then it starts going up by increments of 2 in order to unlock the next ability. So we start with Vigor, which is the fist, Skill, which is the kind of slashing icon, Strength, the shield, Speed, the boot, Wisdom, the book, Charm, the stars, and then Fire, Ice, Wind, Bolt, and Slay. Depending on how you're building your character and kind of the RNG of what heroes you have show up that give the various emblems, determines what you focus on for accumulating the emblems and trying to tailor your build accordingly. This is the part that I think takes the most time to figure out, because you can just recruit random heroes, but as things get more difficult in the modes, if you don't build your characters more effectively, you're going to have a tougher time clearing the runs and or get stuck, since the difficulty scales pretty decently as you go through the different floors, and even the regular enemies start to get tougher. And so just for example, I'm not going to go through all of them since I can explain it better once we're actually recruiting people in run. If we were to increase Vigor, the first one, at one emblem we have ability to interrupt telegraphed attacks, which means we can throw enemies off before they hit us. Then the next level gives the overall attack percentage boost, 20%, and so on. The maximum level is 18. I have yet to figure out if some of the abilities get any sort of stat bonuses past 18, but the perks end when you max out at level 18. For Hayabusa, our character we're playing here, we're going to want to max out Vigor and Skill. He gets pretty good boost from Vigor and Speed emblems in general. I'll show that in a sec. But what I found is if we go max out Vigor, Skill, get Speed decently high, and then pick an element to focus on, I found Slay to be pretty useful because it can one-shot enemies. But if we get those 3 things to 18, it puts him in a pretty good state to be able to clear Traversal level 5. But it'll depend on what kind of stuff the game gives us. Activated effects gives an overview of the unlock perks, which tracks to what we've got here. Just kind of shows it in a summary. We'll talk about records of sin later, the skill one I've got. But here on the main overview page, this looks very similar to what we saw on the unlock screen. So for Hayabusa, for his main skill, Solitary Master Ninja, every 50 enemies he kills, he heals by 1%. It's pretty handy when you're just murdering large swarms of enemies. It allows him to keep his HP topped up decently well. The bigger of the 2 abilities is the second one. Increases total speed emblems by 70%. That means whenever he acquires the foot emblems, he gets a bonus of 70%. Likewise, whenever he acquires a Vigor emblem, he gets a 70% bonus so that you can accumulate them much faster. And then on his weapon, the first skill, increase attack speed by 10% after you evade. It's a real short but nice boost to how fast he swings. And so by prioritizing Vigor and also speed when we can, it's easier to max those out because you're not getting 1-to-1. You're essentially getting 1.7 to 1. Which isn't really visually represented. I think it just, when you cross the threshold, it'll give you a bonus one. Formation, not too important at the moment because we don't have any. These you unlock on the runs, and they orient your party in a different way and give different stat bonuses and different unique skills, which I'll show off later. And we don't have any special effects yet. And no heroes. So I think for the first run, I will sort of talk through what my choices are when I get to a sapling, as I kind of explain my build intention. My hope is to do several of these runs in the stream today, and I'll probably talk less and less each one unless I see something noteworthy. That way I'm not having to stop and take 10 minutes just to clear a floor. This game goes pretty quick, but in general, the runs are anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes up to Traversal Level 5. And so, just for the sake of explaining things, I'll be going slower at the beginning here, and then I'll just be fighting through the waves and explaining why I'm choosing stuff later. Another thing we can do is re-roll. If we don't see any of the characters here that we like, Hanbei would be alright for Wisdom. Wisdom specifically boosts Musou abilities and some summon abilities. If we hit Triangle, we can re-roll, and it'll give us a different 3 from the overall pool, unless it's a specific theme portal or sapling. We do want to prioritize getting skill maxed out because we don't get a bonus. That one's always going to be one to one unless a character we recruit has more than one. I think Magoichi is the only one who has 2 just from the start. So we can take Jiangwei. He comes with skill and strength. Strength isn't bad. It's a lot of defensive abilities and some summon stuff, but we mostly want the skill. Alright, so now that we've recruited one of the heroes, you can see down on the bar in the middle of the screen below my assemble gauge, which is the empty bar. We can now see our combos. For every character we've got recruited up to 6, their boxes will glow whenever I hit a light attack to show me where in the combo progression I'm at. Now, that's not super important, but now that we have someone recruited, if I go 1 light and then a heavy, that's what the numbers correspond to. So 2 would be 2 lights and a heavy. Number 3 would be 3 lights and a heavy, and that's how the boxes work. But if we go 1 like this, and then we end the combo, it summons that character to pop out and they'll do an attack. Every character you recruit has a different type of attacking ability or support ability that comes out when you summon them. And then once you throw the summon, they go on to a cooldown. I think base is 30 something seconds. I did want to show off one more thing before we move on to the next floor and actually proceed with the run. And this is something I only learned about recently because I missed it when I did all my playthrough stuff on the Switch. If we go into the combo and hit R1 before the combo's finished, you do what's called a quick summon. And it basically pops the summon character out before you finish all of the hits in the combo, but it adds additional time onto the cooldown. So I didn't see what it started at. It was 10 or 7 seconds in red. And then once that counts down, okay, it looks like it's 36 seconds. Then the regular countdown goes. So if you need to get the characters out in a pinch to either get damage or to clear stuff out, you can quick summon, but then it's going to take longer for them to cool down. Some of the really neat perks you get, along with some of the permanent treasures you get per run, do things like decrease cooldown. And some of the emblem upgrades like Charm increases the cooldown, but you have to wait. And so you can do some real fun stuff with summon spam builds and maximizing how much damage you can do just by throwing like a bunch of characters out at once. Okay. Well, that's a pretty fast breakdown of how the character summoning and recruiting works. I'll talk more about it as we go, but once we beat a floor, we get the upgrade or whatever bonus we get for clearing it, and then we get a choice of where to go next. We can either go to a floor that's going to give us a crystal sapling with just a random pool of heroes, or we can get Tears of Blood. Tears of Blood in the lower right corner to the right of the Karma Embers I've accumulated. These are a currency accumulated in run. They don't go with you once you finish the run or die. But you use the Tears of Blood to unlock specific things within the run. These things called King's Cauldron, but I'll explain that once we actually see one pop up and I go to it. But alright, let's move on. Okay, we'll throw Hayabusa's Musou so you can see it. This is pretty cool. It's very fast. It hits a pretty decent range. It can clear enemies out pretty quickly. Some of the enemies have a chance to drop an emblem on the floor. It's not guaranteed, but if you do that, then it'll give you a choice of 3 random emblems you can get as sort of like a bonus for that particular floor. But now, you can take a look and see. No skill emblems, but we do get Liu Bei, and he can give 2 charm, which is nice. Again, charm is what boosts summon skills and cooldowns. Not bad, we'll take that. Of note, since I mentioned it before, if we go to the Banner of the King, this shows us all of our party information. When we get more formations, we can switch them here. We can also have Enma, who's the kind of demon king character you saw pop up briefly. That's Enma. He'll recommend party structures, which is fairly effective for the most part. But if we go to the same menu here, we can take a look at our hero list and see the conditions to unlock their tactics as well. So for Jiang Wei, in order to get Child Prodigy unlocked, we need 5 total skill emblems and 5 wisdom emblems. And so that one will cut the summoning cooldown in half for any hero that has the Sword Dance emblem. Or actually, no, that's a summoning skill. So Sword Dance is a type, if you see up in summoning skills. Some of the characters have the same type, although they might function a little bit differently. So if you put a bunch of characters that have that summoning skill in there and unlock Child Prodigy, then as long as they're on your formation or on your team, along with Jiang Wei, their summon cooldown gets cut in half. Likewise for Liu Bei, his Oath of the Peach Garden, we need to have Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, 2 other Shu characters, and then it increases their summon skill damage by 100%. I'm going to be focusing on damage for Hayabusa specifically, so I'm not terribly worried about who I have on my party for the moment, but we'll just keep going and see what pops up. And so when the crystal sapling for the next floor has an emblem icon, it means it's going to only give you heroes that have that emblem type. And if we hit triangle, it'll show the master list of everybody, and it's going to pick 3 in this mode. So it'll pick 3 out of this one, and if we re-roll, it'll re-roll from this master list, because this is only the characters that have vigor. Likewise, there's wind, but we're not going to go for wind as an element, I don't think. So we want to focus on vigor. Alright, I am curious to see how the broadcast bitrate does, since this game can get really busy as you get lower in the floors and higher in difficulty, and more stuff keeps coming up on screen. It runs at it should run at lock 60 by default, and it looks alright on the broadcast. I was telling a friend of mine, I've been giving various updates on as I play through the game on Switch. And I told him when I bought this on Steam to test out, it was a night and day difference for how the game looked and played, because it's running a lot more stably. and then have it dropping down to like 5 frames a second every once in a while, like the Switch version. Alright, peach trees, which are another type of floor that can pop up. These don't have enemies, they just have a peach tree, which will heal you and increase your max HP. It's not terrible for improving your overall HP pool for future runs, which I'll explain once we actually beat one. But I think I'm going to go Tears of Blood. This one does have enemies, but the reward is more of the Tears of Blood currency that we can buy stuff with once we get to a cauldron. And our target, I've been doing these kind of fast, but in the upper left, we have a target for what we're supposed to do in each floor. Usually it's kill X number of guys. I've been doing it so quickly because these lower floors are fairly easy. And so that's why you're not really seeing the mission conditions. But as we go, they'll start getting more difficult, and we'll get bonus missions, which will allow us to do other things before we move forward. This floor will give me Karma Embers. I could have gone for the wind one, but I do want more unlocked currency. And these are the Memories of the Dead. These are random events that pop up when you start a floor, and it'll give you a choice of either things that will give you a bonus on the run or boost skills like damage or whatnot, and it lasts for the entirety of the run. And there's a little bit of kind of narrative text for like a quote-unquote story behind what the event is. I'm going to go Tears of Blood, which hopefully we get a cauldron soon. Okay, 150 enemies to beat here, which should be relatively easy. This is a bonus mission, which is denoted by the floor having a little chest icon in the upper right under its phase. And here's a better look at Enma. This is the King of Hell. This is the guy who's basically telling us what to do. Okay, so we have a bonus condition and a timer to do it to defeat this decoy warrior here in a minute. Just throw Musou. He's dead. Ooh. And these chests here are rewards for completing the mission on that floor. So we picked up a unique weapon. So this is what I was showing on the unlock screen that you can pay money for in-game or unlock on runs. So this is Wei Yan's weapon. That's cool. One less thing we have to buy. Then about 3,500, 3,550 in embers. Nice. Okay. Don't want ice. Go for just a regular sapling. The maps themselves are not terribly large. As you go, the tile set changes a bit, but largely you're not exploring the map so much. You're just going through and fighting the various enemies. Sometimes you have to hunt certain ones down for mission requirements, but in general, if I had a criticism of this game, the environments are kind of simple, but that's probably by design. Okay, we want more skill. No, we're only getting 1-to-1, so we'll go for Xing Zai. Even though she's wind, that's fine. For that tier of unlock on skill, we get more actions. So now, if we go into our combos, I believe the 4 lights and a hard is what we unlocked there. So get more combo chains. And that unlock will vary depending on the character. Big ones for skill are the combo chains and then attack speed initially. Okay. Another bonus mission, 170 enemies this time. We're on phase 7 of 8, so I'll hold my Musou because we're going into the boss floor next. Okay, bonus emblem. And go speed. And you can see we're only getting 1 here, but because of Hayabusa's bonus, it's going from 3 to 5. And so we get two perk unlocks for doing that. Bonus strength emblem. Okay. Don't see any vigor emblems, which is what I want. Sakon gets this one, but ice. In addition to attack bonuses on vigor, we also have range, which is also nice. I've got a decent amount of rerolls. Let's see if we can get some with a better element. Oh. Or we could do this. So skill, wisdom, fire, mature, Ikimura Sanada. Yeah, I could do this. Increased damage to barriers is helpful for bosses. That puts us at 5 skill. That doesn't change our team composition. Alright, so this is the first boss floor. This puts us into an arena of sorts with the Onigashira. This is the first boss. He's a big boy. After some attacks, the boss characters will turn yellow, and if you throw a heavy charge attack, it'll break their shield, which is the white bar underneath his life, which you need to be able to do in order for him to take damage. Once the yellow bar above my character portraits, my summons, is full, and I hit R2, we activate a skill called Assemble. And it depletes relatively quickly, so I wanted to make sure I didn't waste it here. But when you throw Assemble, all of your characters start popping out at once in sequence. You have 6 of them total. And they start using their abilities to add damage, and you can move and attack freely. It's a good way to, 1, clear out a lot of stuff if you're getting mobbed, or 2, if you get the boss's shield broken and it puts them into that down state for a little bit, and you throw Assemble, you basically get free damage. As you go, you can attack and throw combos at your player character, and then if you throw Musou while Assemble's active, you go into kind of like a super version of your Musou attack, which has different attack animations than the standard one. Like in his, instead of zipping around and then coming down from the top, he has a bunch of slashes that he runs around with and he can move, and then does this big sort of spirit bomb looking nuke that just blows up the entire screen. And so Assemble is extremely powerful. It's useful for bosses, it's useful for tricky rooms where you're getting swarmed with tons of enemies. And so upgrading with Charm also includes things that increase the charge rate of your Assemble gauge, which is nice. Alright, so beating the boss on the floor, we get our first treasure choice. This is a randomized set of 3 of a list of, I want to say, like 25. There's a whole bunch of different treasures you can choose for the run. And then when the run's over, you don't get to keep them, but they unlock. And each of the treasures does something different for that run. Like Heshibi Disc gives you 30 more rerolls at your saplings. Cherry Blossom Armor gives you a 100% decrease to your defense stat, but it reduces your evasion distance by 10%. Art of War, which I think is one of the more useful ones, gives you access to all the formations, so you don't have to buy them at the cauldrons, and we haven't even seen a cauldron yet. I usually go for this one when it comes up, so I don't have to worry about buying formations, and now I can explain what those are. So we'll go Art of War. Go back to the banner. Now under formations, we have all these different configurations of our team. And on the right, there's different effects, formation effects that happen when you equip the formation. And then formation techniques are something that goes off when you throw a symbol. And so my go-to when I have access to all of them is usually 8 trigrams. I think meta-wise, it's probably better to go for a respective damage type that's going to boost your team. But at this point, I'm still not too worried about min-maxing for runs because we're not going at traversal level 6. So I'm going to go 8 trigrams. This one gives a bonus to the Musou attacks by 30%. And then when you throw a symbol, you get a shield. Your player character gets a shield that nullifies damage while symbol is active. And then it does slay damage, which is type of element, to anything that touches it. This one is probably the one I go to the most. And it does boost our overall team power, which you can see now up to 78k. But now we move on to the second zone, and I'm going to spend a little bit less time talking about the technical stuff, unless I need to explain something. The Glacial Wilds. It's an ice field. The same deal for the mission objectives. In general, the amount of enemies we got to take out in order to progress to the next floor will continue to go up. Free orb. Okay, more vigor. 2 more levels. When we destroy barriers on enemies or bosses, we get charges to the Musou gauge, and more importantly, range up. Visually, it might be harder to see, but for like that lunging combo that Hayabusa does, it'll pick up clumps of enemies and just carry them across the screen and maul them. The range up is nice. Ooh. There's Zhangfei. He comes with 2, so that should give us at least 3 in total. Yeah, we're up to 10. So we're getting close to maxing out vigor. We might be able to do it on the zone, which would be nice. There's a cauldron. These have a chance to spawn as one of the floor types, but the harder you go in traversal level, the more rare they are. The lower levels, they show up fairly frequently, but on 5, we're kind of lucky if we see them earlier on. So going to the cauldron gives us the option to take a look at a selection of heroes that we can buy with the Tears of Blood. So the currency is used here. And it's actually some good choices. I think I'm going to go for Magoichi and maybe Hanzo. It's like it's 2 speed and 2 skill. The skill one is what we need. Yeah, and then speed because of the bonus. Yeah, it puts us up to 8. So 8. I don't remember. We must have been at 6 before. So we got speed. I think it was 25% speed, and now our evade got upgraded. So 2 consecutive evades. 3 in total. So now we can do multiple evades on 1 cooldown timer, essentially. 1, 2, 3. Fast enough. 1, 2, 3. Pretty handy for zipping around when there's crowds of enemies. Alright, we'll go speed. Speed should be secondary, but we're gonna get some good bonuses from that, so I'll take speed for a floor. This bonus gives you slashing strikes on your charge attacks for 5 phases. Like that. So our harder charge attacks get a bonus projectile, which is nice. It's just free damage. $280 is our target. We throw Assemble on the floor, which I haven't done at this point. It's a pretty good illustration of what happens when all the characters jump out, and then when you clear the floor, it stops. So you won't waste a bar if you throw it towards the end just to clear the last bit. Okay, for speed, we can go Speed Charm. Now, Peachtree or Cauldron, we only have 1,000 tiers, so it doesn't really help our team at all, but I'll take the extra max health. Now we're up to 330. And for the bonus mission, 100 enemies. Alright, easy enough. Should be one Musou. Alright, bonus orb, or bonus emblem. Go Wisdom. If we can, upgrading our Musou is helpful. You do things like upgrade its damage, upgrade the rate at which it charges, and then if you get all the way up to 18 on Wisdom, you get 2 bars, which is nice. But I don't know that I'm really going to focus on doing that. We'll see. Still want to max out Vigor. 80% attack, which is pretty good. If we take a look at the overall stats, we can see how Hayabusa's base stats are being augmented by not only the emblems, but the abilities of our team. So right now he's at 2506. That's a 180% increase in his base attack stat. That's pretty respectable. I think if you get up to 5 or 6, you can pretty much just steamroll the entirety of the dungeon. But we'll see. His cumulative level's not maxed. But still pretty good damage. Another orb. Okay. Getting close to 18. Level 18 bonus for Vigor is pretty interesting. You basically get shockwaves like we have on our limited time ability on all your normals. So you just become a shockwave machine. And if you have a high enough damage stat with a good element like Slay, then you're hitting projectile waves on the entirety of the field, just obliterating everything. There you are. I missed. Okay. We actually haven't been getting much Slay. Yeah, we'll start putting points into this. That is the element that has a chance to one-shot regular enemies. Oh, look at that. Forget Shaho Duen. We get range 3 and more Slay. That's good. One more and then we max out at 18, or it's probably going to be 19 because of the bonus. So that's good. Vigor will be almost done. We need to focus on skill. Skill and Slay next. Ooh, okay, so this memory, we can get 3,000 Tears of Blood, which is pretty good. We can get 500 Karma Embers, which is eh. Or we can gamble. 70% chance to increase Crystal Beads by 2, or 30% chance to get nothing. I will explain the Crystal Beads if I get them. And that's awesome, okay. I have gotten shafted on that bet several times. 30%. Crystal beads show up to the left of our embers, bottom. It's like a little teardrop. I will explain what that is. Maybe on this floor, if I use it. I'll just explain what it does. I don't know if I'm going to use it here. Alright. Push skill. Makes it possible to use EX attacks and applies attributes to divergent attacks. So that boosts our combos. Okay, it's wind. No, we're not going to use this here. Let's see if we can reroll to get someone who's got wind and vigor for the last emblem. This is a bit harder, but we'll see if we can pull. Okay, there's KG. KG comes with vigor, speed, and the element wind. So that's good. We'll take that. Should get us some stuff for speed. So crystal beads. When you acquire these, either from picking them up on the field or getting them from something like the treasure bonuses or the memories of the dead, it allows you to reuse the same crystal sapling at the cost of 1 bead. So instead of it being one and done like normal, if you have a specific sapling where you know is going to pull something you want, like say for example if this was a skill sapling and only pulling characters with skill emblems, we could use it again twice to get essentially 2 more rounds of emblems for free, and it can really boost the time or cut down the time to max out our different attributes for something we want. I don't want to do that here because it's wind, but we can bank these and just hold on to them as we go through the different zones, and I'm probably going to use it on skill, so we'll just wait for now. Alright, Zone 2 boss. This is the Magadori, the demon bird. This thing is a lot more mobile than the Oni first boss. Has a lot of projectile attacks, but isn't too bad. You can see the maxed out vigor stat. All those shockwaves are coming off of my normals, and they do pretty good damage as it ramps up. And so you can see that combined with throwing a symbol just melts the boss. And I kind of wish I realized you could do that type of build. When I was playing on Switch and I used Hayabusa, I didn't build him that way. I kind of disregarded his bonuses to the emblems. And I probably could have cleared Traversal level 6 a lot faster if I knew you could take advantage of that. Okay, so now we get to choose another treasure. This one will go into our inventory with the other one. It's probably down to Ranjatai Agarwood or 6 Teachings. So this one makes it more likely for shining saplings to appear, which we haven't seen yet. Basically, these are a chance to appear with a hero that's going to boost your current tactics. So much more useful and strong heroes will appear from the brightly shining crystal saplings. And it increases the amount of karma embers acquired by 50%. Teachings gives you 3 emblems at random of one of these types. So 3 of one type, not just 3 random ones completely. So vigor, skill, strength, speed, wisdom, or charm, it'll pick one of those and give you 3. Because we just maxed out vigor, we'd have a chance of pulling that again and it not giving anything for our builds. Odds aren't likely because it's a 1 in 6 chance, but if it gave us skill, then we'd be golden. That's what we want. If it gave us strength, it'd be kind of whatever. Speed would be okay, wisdom would be okay, and charm would be okay. I think I'm gonna go for this one and also get the boost. 100% chance of acquiring karma embers after you take out every 50 enemies is alright, but I think it's going to be less payout than just an overall boost to the embers gained. So we'll take the Agarwood. Not a super damage focused set of treasures, but not bad. Okay, we can increase attack by 50% for 3 phases, but every time we dodge, we lose 2% of our health, which is not a super big deal, This is just for one phase. Okay, we'll take the 50% attack boost. It's actually pretty sizable. We'll rely on Musou. 2% is not catastrophic, especially since his passive gets 1% every 50 kills. So if I need to evade, it's not going to put me in the red. Okay. Looks like it's 7. I'll just heal it back instantly. Yeah, it's pretty negligible, actually. Okay, skill. Skill all the way. Then element. Then wisdom. Ooh. If we recruit Zhuge Liang, we get 2. That's nice. That character's cool. He's the first one I played through when I started up this particular save on PC. So we're gonna go to this one. So this is what the shining saplings look like. They're gold. I'm gonna burn beads here, most likely. Try and get some better characters. We'll see. Okay. More danger zones are higher kill count floors, or slightly more dangerous than the regular ones. It's not a big deal. It's more experience, which is good. And so now, I don't know if we saw this up till now, but the different bosses can show up on floors as regular enemies. Here's the bird, Zone 2 boss, just as a slightly stronger regular enemy. They're usually more trouble than they're worth in this mode, because they take more hits to kill. But if we can take them out, we can take them out. Okay, bonus orb. Let's go speed. Spring water, that tops out our Musou gauge if it's empty or not full. Okay, what are our choices? Can up charm. You know, I think I'm going to save my beads for one of the emblems I need. These shining ones are good, especially if you need certain abilities to unlock tactics. Like we can unlock Hanzo's or Xingcai's, or if we recruited Naomasa, who's actually a pretty cool character. Maybe we'll check him out later. Naomasa E. One note that I think is kind of funny that I've seen, especially since the Samurai Warriors games have been around. Sometimes people think that his last name is an L because it's not stylized with like a regular capital L with like a hook on the bottom. But there's no L in Japanese, so his last name is E. But I always see people sometimes calling him Lee, which is funny. His skill set, when you play as him as the main character, actually functions around a lot of fun things that can create summon spam builds. I think we'll go Ieyasu. Don't need the fire, but we'll take strength and charm. And we'll bank our beads until we find like a skill floor. Free 500. Need to remember that I have the shockwave thing, so I don't really need to be using a lot of combos. I just need to be pointing towards big clumps of enemies and do the sheer damage and speed. It'll lay them out pretty quickly. If you throw Musou, it'll clear out maybe 150 of them at once. $300 enemies. So even at Zone 3, there's a pretty decent amount of enemies on the screen and a lot going on. Just imagine this at like half the frames per second, and that's the Switch version. Again, it's playable, and if it really bothered me, then I wouldn't have put like 100-something hours into the Switch version. But it gets even crazier than this in some of the other modes as you go in higher difficulties. So once I knew that I really wanted to grind into the end game for Abyss, I said I'm just gonna go for the Steam version, and I can stream it, which is good. Show this game to other people. Since I don't know a lot of content creators that are covering this one, it kind of went under the radar. But given we look at roguelite games all the time on this channel, I think this one will be interesting to play through long term as we look at builds, and especially as they add more stuff to the game. There is an update coming tomorrow, Friday, but it's more of a skill-based update. It's not adding any new modes or content, I don't think. No new characters, just tweaks. Free movement, that's not bad. You can move through enemies. One thing I didn't mention, since in the earlier stages we weren't lasting long enough to see it, but those purple auras or clouds are the telegraphed attacks from the enemies. Most of them aren't living long enough to use them, but different enemies have short or longer range attacks that they'll telegraph, and so you see the purple, that'll let you know that they're preparing to do something. And I really need a skill floor. Okay, if I get to 6 or 7 without it, I'll probably have to burn my beads. Actually, no, this is the 3rd zone. I can afford to hold on to them. We get to the end of the 4th zone. Eventually, we'll not want to be stuck holding any crystal beads because we'll run out of saplings to use them on. But we're fine for now. Wait for skill. Oh, it's bird. Oops. All right. Guess that works. Nice. All right. Increased damage to barriers. 50% boost in damage to barriers, both for regular enemies and especially for bosses. Okay. I guess we can go for Kiyomasa. Actually, is this a skill? Is this a skill sapling? What happens if you reroll? No, it's not. I should have just taken that. Oh well. Oh, we can take... I'd prefer to get skill, but I should have taken that first one. We'll go for Weiyan, get to the Slay element. Okay, it was just a gold one. Alright. Got 10k of the Tears of Blood too, so I guess I should probably jump on a cauldron if I see it, so I can buy several heroes at once. As you go through the different zones, the prices of the upgrades you buy in the cauldrons, I believe it scales up higher, so it's more expensive further down you go. health regen on consecutive hits. That's nice. You can see some of the larger projectile waves that some of the range enemies can do. They'll give you like a long wind up. You'll see a big kind of pillar of purple. That's your clue to get out of the way where they actually throw it. Okay, 7 rerolls. Let's try and get skill. How did that work? Skill wisdom with Zhang Hui. We're up to 13. We need 5 more skill to max out. And now, because we got that one treasure, you can see the gold saplings are showing up almost every round now. Okay, this memory just straight up gives us 1 additional emblem of whatever we choose. I think I will go Charm. Okay, that gives us a temporary stat boost during assemble mode. It's not bad. Good for bosses. As we improve Slay, the overall element power goes up, along with its chance to one-shot. We want to get that as high as possible. Okay, there's Lu Bu, one of the most famous characters from the Musou series. It's too bad we already maxed out on Vigor, but he is decently strong in general, especially if you're building a bolt element team. Okay, we'll take the skill emblem here. Level 14 attributes always applied. So all of our normals will have Slay. It's hard to tell because I think it was the skill upgrade that gives us the kind of magenta wave, but it's also applying, I believe it's applying the element to that too, which is nice. We're going into boss. Now our total combined power is over 1,000,000. It's not really going to matter too much. This is Tamahami, kind of wraith-looking Reaper character. And this one, unlike the bird, has more of a teleport and projectile-based moveset. You could do some kind of close-range stuff, but in general, it likes zipping around and doing stuff like teleporting. But it should go down pretty quickly once you break its shield. It does seem like this boss's health pool jumps up a bit from the bird, but we're tuned pretty well for damage. But yeah, we're not going to one-shot it. Here's the Super Musou. Bunch of attacks. And a Spirit Bomb nuke, which is going to almost take the shield out. That. Summon spam, we might be able to kill it here. There we go. That's another thing that quick summons are good for. If you just need to get them out quickly while the boss is stunned, then you could throw a bunch of your characters out in the field and try and get that last bit of damage. Alright, what do we have? Number of heroes at crystal saplings by 1. 100% chance of acquiring tears of blood after every 20. Enemies defeated. That's not bad. Imperial Seal charges Summel Gauge by 30% when you take hits from enemies. That is less useful. We don't want to get hit at all. Mirror of the Four Beasts increases Summel Gauge charge by 100%, but then the cauldrons stop appearing, which we don't really want. I'm going to have to choose one of these two on a run eventually, just so I have them unlocked in the vault, but yeah, we're going to take this. Not a super good series of choices again. Nothing summon or damage boosting, but that's okay. I hope they add the ability to reroll treasures at some point. That would be awesome. Okay, so this is zone 4. This is the final zone. You get to the bottom, we have a boss, and then the final boss after that. Now our kill count is up to 1,000. And the enemies are going to start spawning in larger waves. But I think we're pretty well positioned to be able to blitz through this fairly quickly. Even without really going through the level, I can just let the enemies spawn and then mow them down with the shock waves. Ooh. Alright, getting closer. Okay, we'll take the skill emblem on Kenshin. And now I gotta pay attention to how many chances for rerolls. We'll keep going. If I see a skill floor, then I'm gonna gun for that, and I'll burn my beads there. I'd say if we get halfway through this zone and I don't see any, I'm just gonna start using on the gold saplings. Ooh. This memory will give us another bead at the cost of permanent reduction in health by 5%. That's a pretty good trade. 15? Yeah, it's not bad. Now we have 3 of the beads. Free orb. Okay, 17. Alright, now it almost doesn't matter. Just need one more, and then we max out on skill, and then probably slay. That'll be the majority of our points that we put everything into. Okay, 400 enemies on this mission. I just realized I haven't been checking the in-game volume. I might have to drop that down a little bit. The sound effects when a lot of stuff's on screen, I didn't realize how loud it's getting. You can drop that just a bit. Try that for a floor. Okay. We will grab the last skill emblem from Sun Shangjiang. Sun Shangxiang. That's how you say her name. So that gets us 50% increase for all attributes, which is pretty good. And I'm going to burn my beads here, just see if we can get a good combination like this with Sushu. That's wisdom plus slay. Wisdom or charm is good. Speed and slay is good too. Should be close to maxing out speed. Yeah, one more for speed too. Getting to 18 with more than 3 emblem types is kind of hard to do. It's easier with characters like Hayabusa where he's got a bonus. That makes it way easier, but in general, I think you look to max 2 emblem types normally-ish. It also depends on what the game throws at you too with the saplings. Okay, that's done, so we'll go charm. There is a chance that we can get more of the crystal beads. I think they're just drops. I don't know if they have a higher chance to drop from the boss enemies that show up as regular waves. But I have picked them up kind of randomly. Alright, we could go for charm with Wang Yuanji. But I see Motonari's here too. Yeah, we'll do that. Wisdom, charm. Wisdom's at 11, charm's at 8. Yeah, we're still steamrolling most of the waves here. That's good. Great. Whistle gauge, charge amount, up by 100%. That's very handy. Even if we don't get maxed out and get 2 bars, it should recharge pretty quickly. Let's see. We can go for Lumeng. Skill won't help, but we can grab the slay element. We're up to 11 with that. Summoning damage up. We're at 5 of 8, so we're almost through the zone. Making pretty good speed. If we get Takeda, that gets us Endure with the strength emblems. That allows us to withstand a lethal hit once. Every 300 seconds. Every 5 minutes, we can withstand something that would have killed us normally. I don't think that's really going to come into play, but it's there if we need it. The bosses in Traversal level 5 do hit decently hard. I just have been avoiding getting hit for the most part. Huh. I guess we can grab... I could bank my tears for now. One thing they added in the recent update, when you beat the 4th zone boss, you used to be able to just go straight into the final boss from there. But now they added a final cauldron after you beat the 4th boss, so you can cash out as many of your tears as possible if you haven't had a cauldron up to that point. I'm gonna wait. We might get some better things. That's a nice change. It would kind of suck getting bad RNG and not getting any cauldrons, and then getting all the way to the final boss with something like 30,000 tears you can't spend. So now they give you one last chance to get your upgrades before you go into the final fight. Alright, bonus mission 400. There's Tamahami. I'm just gonna ignore that. Could get our last speed upgrade, negate damage probability. Might as well. It's a random chance. I don't know what the percentage chance is, but percentage chance for the enemies to straight up miss. Okay, we're going in the boss anyway. Ooh. Zhao Ren's weapon. Oh, we could have got that last upgrade here with Ayane. Oh well. We'll go Nobunaga. That puts us at 13 Slay, 11 Charm, 12 Wisdom. If we can get one more Slay, that unlocks the Protective Star. It gets a little elemental orb that'll just fly around your body and it'll do passive damage. Alright. Zone 4 boss. We have Bloodthirsty Warrior, who is like a demon version of Lubu. And then we fight one that's kind of like a demon version of Honda Tadakatsu. On Traversal level 5 and above, we have to fight 2 of them back to back. Normally it's just one. But we kind of destroyed his shield quickly. So I think we'll be alright. This boss does hit exceptionally hard. Even though I'm destroying his defenses, do not want to get hit. Once we have the shield up, it doesn't matter, but before that, gotta be a little bit careful. Where are you? There you are. I don't think that's gonna be enough. It'll be close. Yep. There we go. There's Veteran Warrior. We fight him back to back. It's like a double boss. This particular one, unlike the Lubu version, is a bit more projectile and range combo focused. Still dangerous though. We don't want to get hit by anything this boss does. Okay, we don't have a symbol ready, so we'll try and do a bunch of damage. Then we'll have to break a shield again and we'll try it a second time. There we go. Oh, it's gonna be close. Nope, just shy. Probably could have taken him out if I went for the Super Musou. Oh well. I think this will do it. Yeah, that'll kill. Alright. Oh, no protective star. Okay, that's zone 4. Oh, we could still get the final element we need for Slay. If we can get actually any of the 3, Wisdom, Charm, or Slay would be nice here. Ah, nice. Okay. Get that from Shu Huang. Okay, level 14 consecutive hits, recover health more from Ishida. And yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get this. And because this is our last chance to spend them, we'll just spend them. We got him. Flame damage is kind of whatever, but not bad. That purple orb is the protective star. So you can actually upgrade that again at level 18 and you get 4 of them. This orbiting shield of death around you. But that'll be fine for now. Now we go into the final fight. This is Goma. This is the main creature that we're trying to kill. And so it's this big, kind of lumbering, slow-ish creature that's got a bunch of different attacks that we'll see. Not too bad. Keep moving. Oh, and it'll summon adds, which we can use to charge our assembly meter. Almost. Ooh. And we can get free orbs on the field as well. That's nice. Cooldown 50%, which is really good for the charm emblems. But what I really want would be a little more meter, but it's alright. Just summon spam. Take a chunk out of its health before it regenerates the shield. And we'll have enough assemble for the second time we break it. You can use Musou as well. It's good for interrupting some of Goma's more annoying attacks. And it'll take a chunk out of its health. It's nothing too crazy. Summons will do a much better job. There we go. I'm still yet to see the frames drop, which is good. And there it goes. First form, Goma's not too bad. Second form, because of course that wasn't its final form. Second form is more dangerous. This is the last portion of the fight. So now we've got this big multi-limbed version. And it can do a whole lot more area of effect attacks and things in general, and is faster. So you want to be a bit careful not to get hit by some of the more large reaching projectiles and other things. Same strategy. Break the shield, throw assemble, stack on the damage. Go. I think should be able to get around 50% before it puts the shield back up. Get a little bit more. little bit under 50. It's not bad. Ah, of course I can move out of the way when I throw them. My Musou, though, that's a bit of wasted damage. Well. And just like the first form, it'll get random adds on the board. I think there's a chance for it to drop a skill orb in the second phase too, I think. I think it's just luck and RNG. Well, let's see if we can break his shield a few times, get charges on Assemble Gauge. Ah, we'll just break it. I might have to do it more than once. Oh, only close. Ah, I thought for sure could get enough damage with the Musou. Oh well, one more time. Second form Goma is definitely more dangerous than the first, but not terrible. On Traversal level 6, though, this fight gets harder. It gets like a more dangerous form. Not to get into spoilers, but there's a different final form that has a different moveset and hits like a freight train. Alright, let's just throw it. Pretty much done here. There we go. Goodbye. Alright, get a couple lines from Enma. And then it actually goes to credits. It goes to credits every time you beat a run, but you can just skip them. And we get a wrap-up of all of the stats that went into our run. So, because I talked so much at the beginning, it took an hour and 14 minutes to clear it. If I was just blazing through, not offering a lot of commentary, I probably could have done it in about 30. But that's alright. We had to explain how a lot of the mechanics work. But in the end, we ended up with 25 vigor, 21 skill, 6 strength, 18 speed, 14 wisdom, 12 charm, 5 fire, 2 ice, 5 wind, 3 bolt, 14 slay. Excuse me. Of note, 4,056 attack is nothing to sneeze at, considering his cumulative level's not that high. The treasures we got are kind of meh. Art of War is good for helping out, but the other two aren't super great. But that's alright. So if we go to next, and then below is all the heroes we unlocked. They'll say, do you want to save this soul record, make it possible to challenge yourself in the depths and the void? Yes. So in the soul records, this saves the run clear data when you beat any of the traversal levels with a character. And the little silver trophy to the left of the character portrait with the number on it, that shows the clear and the traversal level. And so previously, my best clear with Hayabusa got us to 3,400 strength, 20, 18, 20, 5, 7. So overall pretty close, but we got higher in wisdom, charm, and slay this last round. The treasures, I can tell, one of them, that's red hair. That's cooldown reduction on, I think, 2, 4, and 6 slots on your team. And the second one, that's the chariot, that increases speed. So the treasures, I think, are a little bit better for this run, but the stats are not. So I'm going to overwrite this one. And then a fiery blade above the trophy, that shows the transcendence. So when we transcend a character, they get a special icon to show that. Up until I started working on Hayabusa as my farmer, Ishida was my main for a good portion of unlocking stuff. Haven't gotten higher than Traversal level 3 with him yet. But this was before a lot of stuff was unlocked, so he did decently well. Sanada isn't bad. This was on just Traversal level 1. So we'll go ahead and save over the top slot. And we're limited to, is it like a dozen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slots. So 10 clear records that we can save, and then we'd have to overwrite them. And so let's see. We got cumulative level 400, which is nice. Permanent attack boost of 45, defense boost of 48. Pretty good. If we look at the haul, we picked up a decent chunk of embers. And some more unlocks. Let's see, we got 2 unique weapons across those runs. There's a lot. 119 characters, 119 unique weapons. So it's either unlocking them through doing runs or buying them with the Karma Embers. Music, even though we can't hear it. A whole lot of tracks to unlock from the different Musou games. But what I wanted to show off, and since we're getting close to the end of the session today, I'm going to show off one of the other modes to demonstrate what the clear data in the records is used for. So after you beat, I think, just one run, you unlock the Void of Ephemerality, yeah, and Depths of Torment. We're going to go to Void because this one is limited time, and this one just you go till you die. In Depths, you take one of the characters' clear records with all of their equipment, stats, and whatnot when they cleared, and you go through the same floors randomized, and each floor you clear, you don't get to recruit any heroes, but you pick up negative buffs or debuffs that affect your character, and the goal is to get as far as possible down before you die. It'll be something like decreases your damage, or decreases your summon damage, or increases your summon cooldown every time you clear a floor, and then you just go till you die. Void is different. Void is still randomized floors, but you're on a timer. So you are on a 15-minute... Well, we'll start it and see. Yeah. 15-minute timer. I'm going to pause so my timer doesn't run down. I believe the overall spawn level is much higher than when you first start a blank run. But as we'll see, we're tossed right in, and we want to clear as many floors as possible before we hit the end of 15 minutes. And we have our fully upgraded character that we can use, and our first requirement is getting 1,500 kills. So this is meant to be kind of an endurance gauntlet with your fully cleared character. Try and see if you can get as far as possible, and I'll explain the rewards. The boss enemies can show up as regular spawns too, and they will start doing that in larger groups as we go. And I'll explain the reward system once I successfully clear it and I can stop. There's 1,500. Alright. So if you look at the bottom on the right, the currency is different here. There's no Karma Embers. You don't earn any in-run for this mode. But now there's these yellow flames. And those are called Spirit Essence. You get Spirit Essence for just killing enemies in general. You get a larger chunk for killing the boss enemies when they spawn. And then you get a set amount at the end of clearing the floor. That's what the plus 520 means. Each floor you go down, and I believe the tile set's just randomized, you get a negative debuff, similar to the way the depths work, But this one, it's just a flat decrease to something that makes the future floors more difficult. Another key difference here is one, again, limited time, so we're trying to get as far as possible in 15 minutes. And two, every several floors we'll get a sapling. So we can continue to upgrade our team as we go. And you can't do that in depths. It's just whatever your clear data was, and you go. And then we'll go all the way through the run, and I'll explain what the rewards are, since the rewards are a bit different for these two modes than standard versions in Abyss. But especially in these lower floors, when we run into the boss enemies, if we can mow their shields down quickly, then we'll want to kill them, since that'll give us a nice little boost to our spirit essence. And we want to end the 15-minute run with as many of the spirit essence as possible. That'll affect our rewards. Okay. Ideally, if we can clear the floors in less than a minute, that would be good. Oh, and we can get skill orbs. Free skill orbs. I honestly don't know if I've ever seen that happen before up till now. Okay. That's cool. I wonder if it's just a random chance. Okay. No sapling yet. Tamahami. Throw Assemble every once in a while too, just to get that additional damage, especially to drop one of the bosses. They'll start showing up in larger groups as we go. And from my experience on the Switch version, that's when you start getting like 5 FPS soup in this game. So far it looks okay. Here's our sapling. We'll go Charm and Slay. I'd like to get Slay to 18. And I believe we retain all the leftover rerolls from our standard run. There's a bird and a wraith. Not a fun combination, because we have one flying around at top speed and one teleporting around, shooting projectiles at top speed. So we're just going to nuke them both. Our assemble gauge will recharge incredibly fast, so I'll have to worry about conserving it. And there are no dedicated boss floors. We just keep going as long as possible. Whoops, should have looked at that closely at what that debuff was. Okay. And be careful. Some of them are more annoying to deal with than others, and you get a choice. Alright, Demon Bird. Oni. Just nuke him. I think the lowest I've gotten in the Void, I want to say is like a floor 11 or 12. This might be the best built Hayabusa that I've come up with so far. Just because I know a little bit better on how to maximize his skill bonuses. We'll see. I know I didn't have max vigor on any of my switch builds. That alone makes a pretty big difference in the overall DPS and output. I think that was attack boost by 10. I'm used to just going right up to the saplings to get my unlocks. Stop doing that. It's another slight disadvantage to throwing Assemble. I think it kind of washes out in the end, but because you get locked into a bunch of animations, the timer keeps ticking down when you throw that in this mode. But getting like a bonus couple hundred, few hundred kills, I think you don't lose a ton of time. Got two of them. Okay. Now we get an upgrade though, that's good. Level 16 Wisdom. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, Sin Spears attack, enemy attack. Sin Spears are those kind of small mouth-like enemies on the ground, or the plants. They kind of spew damaging stuff around, which are annoying. But it doesn't cause too much of a problem if they just spit faster. You can see the enemies. The boss enemies specifically are getting tankier. They aren't going down right away with their shields. But it's still not bad. Especially with the symbol. I haven't seen another free skill orb on the map. I wonder if it's just a really low chance in this mode. Oh, at one point I must have picked up additional kills per round. Now it's up to 1550. Yeah, I need to be careful what I select. Attack speed. Okay. I mean, danger zones. Danger zones just mean more enemies. I think bigger chance for boss monsters to spawn. It's bloodthirsty warriors. Now those are probably the most dangerous things that can show up as regular spawns in these modes. Because they're fast and they can hit hard from far away. Well, I want them gone as soon as possible. And the models, at least on some of the monsters, scale too, so I don't know if it's correlated to how strong they are, but sometimes you might get really big versions of the boss monsters. Like that Oni one was as big as the screen. Oh, now there's two of them. Just clear the map. I don't think we get the essence bonus when we just wipe everything after we clear it. Which is fine. Now we're at 9. Okay, I'm getting down there. I don't think there's a limit to how many floors there are in Void, because it's time-based. I've seen some people on the subreddit for the Warriors Musou games, and I've seen one that was like 30 or 50. So I think it's just how well you build and how far you can get. I do think the enemy stats continue to scale up higher, so that's kind of your main barrier. It's just the enemy's getting tougher and the wave's getting more dense. This game does make my CPU fan kick up more, kind of like Wilds, but looks like the frame rate's holding. I can run my model at 60, and the game runs at 60. Okay, I don't know if it's every 5 floors you get a sapling. I don't know. But let's see. Could go for more strength, but I really want to focus on maxing out. Close on Slay. Close on Wisdom 2, actually. We need 2 more. Okay. Let's see if we can reroll for something better. That works. Cao Cao. Or if you played the old Dynasty Warriors game, I think it was the English dub, they called him Cao Cao. Which I'm sure has got to amuse people who speak Chinese. Veteran warrior. Still dangerous. Let's see if we can get that one out of here as soon as possible. Oh, and a... Ooh. Yeah, I don't think there's... There might be a... There's probably a programmed limit to how many of the boss characters can spawn. I want to say I've seen 4. Either way, that's trouble. Yeah, they're not getting melted instantly by Assemble. Still decent damage. It's just the Wraith left until another one spawns in. I don't like Tamahami purely for the fact that it can port right out of range really quickly. I'll just take pot shots from on the other side of the arena floor. Gotcha. Oh, there's another one. 5 minutes. Let's just finish this. At this point, I care more about clearing, getting further. This might be a new record. If we get to 20, I don't think we have enough time to get to 20, but if we get to 15, I think that'll be farther than I've ever go, boy. Than I've ever gotten playing on the Switch. That's 2 bloodthirsty warriors and an Oni. That is not a fun combination. It's taking a lot more damage to bust their shields too. Okay, throw a symbol, some protection. Try and take out the 2 warriors first. There we go. Oh, and it would be icing on the cake. Gotcha. 4 minutes. Oh, okay, we even got the clear. We have to throw Musou. %5 boost to enemy health and barriers. That adds up over time, but it should be okay initially. Oh, interesting. Looking at the OBS readout, it's giving me drop frames. A very small amount, only 0.1%. I'm gonna assume it's on account of sheer number of things going on. Now I'm wondering if I get drop frames when I play Wilds. Playback still looks like it's staying at 60 though, so I guess that's good. I've tried doing this mode, especially getting further down like this on the Switch. Right about here is when we start getting like 10 frames a second, and there's visible latency when I try and fight things. And running through that a couple times was not super fun. I've heard this game runs at a locked 30 on the Switch too, which is definitely good, but I don't think it gets 60. Okay, we need 2 more on Slay. That works. Zhang Chunhua. Was it 2 minutes? Is that what the timer said? A little under 3 minutes. Okay. Ooh. That's a big Oni. And 2 Tamahams. Okay. Definitely think it's still on the loud side. Drop the master down to 40. It's a little better. There's so much going on screen. If you're grunting and creature roars. I'll have to take a look at that. I might have to tweak that for future broadcasts. Might actually be louder than BGM. HP scaling is getting pretty nutty. We can kill one. I don't think we're going to kill the second one. Oh no, we did. Just barely. Minute and a half. Okay, yeah, this is definitely a new record for how far I've gotten on this mode. Going into 14. If we focus probably on avoiding the boss monsters and just killing the regular mooks, we might be able to clear this one fast enough to get to 15. Yeah, we're just gonna head away from that. Under a minute? Nah, I don't think we're gonna hit. 1550. Let's do the best we can. 14's not bad, considering we don't have a completely maxed out build. A little less than 39k in essence. That's definitely better than I ever got in previous runs. Okay, take him down. As soon as the timer runs out, it's just gonna kill us. There we go, that's the run. Just like before, we have a wrap up of our run through Void. 23 minutes, 41,000 total spirit essence, and we can't save a record from here. This just gives us our final stats. We do get Karma Embers for playing this one too. 10k for free. It's not bad. So the noteworthy reward for doing both Void and Depths are depending on how many total essence you get in the run. And I don't know what the thresholds are, but you get these things, these records of sin, as rewards. And these are equipables that you can throw on one of your characters one at a time, and they offer a damage, health, or defense or speed, it's a mix, boost to the stats, and they give an ability. For example, this one gives 17% more damage towards Sin Spewers. It's pretty meh. This one increases rerolls at saplings by 6. That's okay. This one increases health or attack by 18% when health is above 99. That might not be bad for Hayabusa because he's topped out for majority of the time. The rank 3s increases attack by 30% for heroes with the Vigor emblem when attacking barriers. It's also not bad. And then there's element specific ones like Flame against barriers, etc. There's a lot of different stat parameter boosting things with these records. And so you get to choose how many you take out of a run. I'm just going to grab one. I'll take this one. Every future one you grab, it adds the amount of Karma Embers that it costs in order to take them out. But once you take them out, you have them forever. You can sell them later for a bit of embers, but these are like permanent equipable stat and ability upgrades you get in these modes. And it goes up to rank 5, and there's some pretty cool ones you can get later. I've seen people post the results. I think the further your traversal level on your clear record, the more of a bonus you get, and then the larger total amount of essence at the end determines the rarity, and I think the number of drops too. So you play this mode to unlock these records you can take on future runs and improve them. Okay, I don't think Hayabusa, I don't know what he was at before. I don't know if he picked up any additional levels. But between the other two, we've stacked up some more embers and picked up a new record. Oh, this is our total wrap up. So in total, we've been playing for 21 hours on the Steam version. Four deaths. Or that's four missions failed, rather. I wonder if this tells me how many times I've died on a run. Defeat suffered. I think that's what that is. 12 failed runs. Wait, unlock music. Yeah. So we did 2 runs. The one I talked through was the first one, and then we did Void. Okay. Another thing to mention that I'll probably be grinding off stream between now and the next time we play this. I do want this to be a kind of long-term thing that we play here on the channel. I mentioned that before. Until I feel like I've done a lot of the things I want to do, I will be streaming this one off and on and kind of showing the progress and the different build ideas and things I come up with. But Training Hall is another mode you can play where you go into a run and you can choose your traversal level just like you can on all the other modes. You don't take clear data, so you take a fresh character in with whatever their upgrades and whatnot are. And each training mission has its own specific gimmick to it. And you have to run all the way through and beat it. So like for this one, it's going to be more likely that the samurai warriors are going to show up in the saplings. For this one, it's male heroes, female heroes. This one augments the effects of all the treasures slightly and makes them different for just this mode. And then, depending on what traversal level you clear the training mode, you get these rewards. And there's some cool ones in here. Some of the records of sin you get do things like this one. I can't remember if it's this one, but one of the ones you get as a bonus, when you equip it, you have more of a chance for a specific emblem type to show up if you want to go for certain builds, which is kind of fun if you want to really specify how you're going to build out your team on a run. And then there's just Karma Embers bonuses, which is good when you're trying to unlock stuff or get Transcendence. And most importantly, Training Hall missions or modes you clear boosts the overall cumulative level max. So right now I think it's 550. If I do every single one of these trainings, which I had all this unlocked on the Switch version up through traversal level 5, if you go all the way down for ones that offer little green, it's like a hairpin, if we do all that, the cumulative max go up to 750. And our total levels that we can amass on a hero will be up to 750. And then that's the most until they add more later. But these are kind of fun. Some of these focus on like an element or an emblem type. So if you take in someone like Hayabusa, who gets crazy bonuses from vigor or speed, then he'll max out everything in like the first zone for those emblem types. So yeah, I'll be working on this off and on. My next major goal is probably going to be to take Hayabusa in and beat Traversal level 6. This is currently the hardest regular mode of the 5. And is the only way you can fight the super true form of the final boss. So next time we stream this for sure, maybe it'll be Hayabusa or maybe it'll be someone else that I've built up. But we'll take someone through Traversal level 6 to show off what that looks like. This one's hard. This one, the first time I beat it took over an hour. But I think with a fully built up Hayabusa, you could probably do it decently quick. I'll test it off stream, and then when we stream this game next time, I'll probably have it cleared, and I can figure out who I'm going to take through to show it off. Until then, it'll just be more grinding. The goal in the short term will be to have everybody's unique weapon unlocked, and then ideally I'd like to have everybody transcended too, but that's going to take a while since each one is between 50 and 60k to transcend after we have the weapon. So if I don't want to just do runs until I randomly get all the weapons and I buy them, then you're looking at probably like 20 million in embers in total. But on the flip side, when we eventually get the ability to farm Traversal level 16, because the Karma Ember boost is 150%, if we can do it in a decent amount of time, it's probably like 50, 60k per round. That and all the training hall rewards. Most of them are, well, this one's, let's see, 10,000, 40,000, 100,000. So if we complete all the training hall stuff once I can do Traversal level 6 consistently, then it's going to be a pretty good amount of one-time rewards for the embers too. I know on my Switch playthrough, I had about 1.3 million just doing runs and occasionally upgrading stuff. And I had several heroes transcended too. I think getting Naomasa fully upgraded is going to be one of my priorities because he's good, like I mentioned before, for building around summon spam, which is very different in playstyle from a straightforward character damage build like we've been doing today. You can go for the ninja squad. Where's Ayane? Yeah, there she is. If you build up a character like Ayane and recruit a bunch of the Ninja Gaiden members that have the Shinobi emblem, you can build like the super team of ninjas with crazy summon abilities. Like, there's a lot. The build diversity and way you can use the tactics to structure how you want your team to be set up is surprisingly deep for this game. That's why I found it so interesting and why I wanted to stream it here. For a roguelite, there's kind of a lot you can choose to do and a lot of modes to play around with, and I don't think they're done fleshing it out. I think in the canon Musou franchises across Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors and Warriors Orochi, there's probably like a good 100, I'd say, so characters that they haven't added. And if they were to keep developing this game or maybe release like an Extreme Legends expansion, you could potentially have a cast of a couple hundred. There's 119 right now. And they could even get more guest crossover characters to show up here. And so I think Warriors Abyss has a lot of potential. And considering a lot of people, I think, initially wrote it off as just kind of a simple asset flip type game, I'm really hoping Tecmo Koei puts more resources into it. And the fact that they've been doing pretty consistent updates since it launched is really encouraging. So we'll have to see. I could foresee a game like this probably taking me several hundred hours to fully upgrade everything. and then beat every mode and whatnot. It's a lot. Will I be streaming it for several hundred hours? I don't know. But either way, this will be filling in the slot of the kind of parallel long play alongside Raido Remastered for now. But we can go ahead and call that a session here before it gets too late. This is the type of game that if I'm not careful, I could play it for like 5 hours straight. So what I will do is, let's go ahead and pause BGM. Let me see who's online that we can raid. I wonder if anyone's playing this game. I do not see a lot of people streaming this game. I do see, this looks like a Japanese streamer. Looks like they're streaming it. Let me see if anyone on the homie list is online first. Oh, Bits is live. Mecha Break, huh? I've been wanting to check that game out. Let us go head over to Bits' stream and say hi. I would be curious to see what his experience with Mecha Break is. I've heard different things, but it's a game that I always thought was interesting when they showed off the beta. So let me cue that up. We will go ahead and go to outro. And we will consider it a good first look at Warriors Abyss. I should be back tomorrow, again, barring any shenanigans from work. And if so, we will be continuing our detective work in Raido Remastered. So until then, thanks to everyone who stopped by and hung out. Hope everyone has a good rest of your day and or evening. And catch you later. Now let's go hang out with Bits.